Can I paint over epoxy primer? Yes, absolutely. But you're going to need to at least sand it down. You're going to want to block it dry or wet with 400 grit. Okay, so you could paint directly over epoxy. It is an okay foundation. But if you have, some chips and some extra work that you got to do to it, it is recommended to put a 2K filler primer on top of it. Okay. If you're going to be waiting a few days, you could just give it a light sand with like 220 grit and then coat it with your 2K filler primer. If you're spraying your 2K filler primer the same day, you don't need to sand it. So you could basically spray your epoxy, let that dry for an hour, give or take, and then spray a 2K filler primer on top of it, no problem. To put the truck back together before color sanding and buffing, worried about burning edges. It depends. It depends on what you want to do. You could do it both ways. So I don't know. I don't know if there's really a good answer because you could burn no matter what. You could burn. I think you could burn easier if it's in pieces, because you can get to the edges a little bit better and you could kind of cut in and burn. If panels are together, you can't really burn that much, unless you got like a corner of a fender or something like that. So it's up to you. It's going to be easier probably sanding and prepping in parts, but just be careful. Color sanding and buffing is the last stage, but then you could screw up your paint job if you burn, if you overdo it. How is Chameleon sprayed? It's sprayed just like any other base coat, pretty much. And it's best to spray over black base coat. So you would put a black base down or any kind of dark base. I've sprayed Chameleon. I haven't sprayed Chameleon in a while, but I've sprayed it over like a dark gunmetal as well. So it's either black or gunmetal, a dark base and then you mix up your Chameleon and spray right on top of it. Philly Phil, newbie, what's the best way to thin out clear coat? Well, I wouldn't recommend thinning your clear coat too much. Normally if you're working with high solids clear coat, you'll have a 4-to-1 mixture with hardener, with your activator and no reducer, or a 2-to-1 with no reducer. But either way, you could add up to 10% reducer to thin it out a little bit. You don't want to overdo it because I feel like if you over thin clear coat, you could get dieback, which means it basically dries in a couple of days. As it cures, it dries a little dull. But again, if that does happen, you could color sand and buff it, right? So if you do get that dieback, you could color sand it and buff it to a gloss again. Lighting is not great in my garage at night. What do you recommend? Don't want to spend a ton on new lights. Well, actually, to be honest, I wouldn't recommend spraying at night, because at night, if you got a bunch of lights set up in your booth, you're going to be attracting bugs. Okay, you're going to be attracting, insects and bugs that will stick to your paint job. It's ridiculous. However, if you're looking for a good lighting system, I definitely advise you to check out a product called Gunbud. They also sell them on Amazon, but I think you get a better deal at Zula. Buy 2, get 1 free. It's basically a light system, okay, that snaps on. It's a universal lighting system that snaps on to any spray gun, and it has a COB wide feature where when you paint, it eliminates all the shadows, literally, and you could see how it just lights up the fender. And it looks a little white on the computer screen like that, but in real life, it lights it up really nice, and you can see exactly. It's great for spraying candies, color blending, whatever you want to do. I've actually painted a complete car in a pitch black garage just to test it out, and it works amazing. So check out Gunbud. It's the Gunbud Ultra Lighting System, guys. And if you invest in Atom spray guns, actually, at Zula.com, you get one of these for free. but they sell on Amazon for like 50 bucks. So check it out. It's a color matching light, so it's a very good for um, color blending and candies and whatnot. Definitely check it out when doing single stage. And also, did you have to scuff the white when you added the black strip onto? Yes, I did. I absolutely did, Richard Gomez. And if you wait a week, I will have those videos out. Not even a week. I am setting time tomorrow to bang out another video on the Good Van project, which will be covering the painting process. There's about 2 more videos that need to be done for that project. I'm banging one of them out tomorrow and then the other one next week. So within the next 2 weeks, the whole series is going to be done. I'm probably going to make a final A to Z video. It's going to be amazing. Cuts of the whole project in like 15 to 20 minute clip where it's going to be all the highlights and all the painting and all that. It's going to be really good. So I hope I'm going to have text in there, you know, text overlay, voiceover. It's going to pretty much walk you through the whole thing. But as answering your question, can you go from 220 to 400? You can. But I would, if you're coming from 220, I would knock it down to maybe like a 320, 340, 360 grit. And then you can just kind of like wash it down with a 400. But if you're doing single stage, you could even get that 220 down to like a 320 or 340, 360, and then just paint right over that. Single stage is very thick, guys, and you don't have to be as fine as 400 for final prep when painting. Okay, you could literally even paint over 220, but I've done it before, but I would recommend go a little bit finer just in case. Okay, just in case you're not spraying it on really nice and wet and heavy. You want to make sure you fill. Okay, but single stage, man, it really hides a lot. It hides a lot. So if you can get it down to 320, 340, 360 grit, you're done. Okay, you don't even have to go to 400. 400's overkill. I did get down to 400 on the Good Van project, just to let you know. Chapter 1, removing scratch. Can I just use a cutting compound? I am hesitant of using a thinner on car body, any other media. You could use a compound. You could use nail polish remover, but lacquer thinner will not hurt your paint if you're going to buff. So a little bit on a rag with a quick wipe will really take off paint and clean out scratches really, really quickly. Okay, but if you don't want to use it, you could also just color sand. You can get some 2000 grit sandpaper after the panel is washed. Okay, you can get some 2000 grit sandpaper and sand out a paint scratch. I'm not sure what type of scratch you're working with, but you can clean the area up and then use a compound. It doesn't really even have to be a cutting compound. A light cutting compound like a 3M Perfected or a Meguiar's all-around compound will do, and just buff it out with a wool pad and then go down to a foam pad, step 2, and then you should be good to go. Alex Wheeler, when spraying metal flake at any size in an inner coat binder after painting the flake, do you sand then clear or clear then sand and clear again? Newbie here. Okay, so if you're using any type of micro flake, I think it's like 0.008 and smaller, you do not have, you could basically just mix it in your clear coat. You don't even have to like put it in an inner coat. You can, but you don't have to. The only time you have to sand is if you're using jumbo flake and you lay it on really, really flaky and it looks like it's popping out of the clear coat and it's dry looking and it looks like a really bad finish. That's when you would let it basically, you can spray. If it's at that point, you could do 2 things. You could just let that cure and dry, sand it with like 800, flatten it out, and then put 2 coats of clear on it. Or you could just let that flash 30 minutes, have some clear coat, just clear coat, and then clear over it to kind of give it a little extra clear coat so the flakes are not popping out as much. And then let that dry, sand it with 800 grit, get it flat, and then 2 more coats of clear coat. So there's multiple ways of doing it. Depends on the size of flake that you're using. So yeah, hopefully that helped. With a lot of paint, chips and craters, dips and craters, is it best to strip down to bare metal than prime and paint? It depends on what you want to do, but you know, in some areas you might want to go down to metal, and you might not have to all the way. You know, it depends. It depends. Very hard to tell you without looking at it. But if you want to go down to metal, you can. You can shoot a couple coats of epoxy primer on it, followed by 2K filler primer on it. Flatten it all out. You know, get it down to at least a 340, 320 grit if you're going to be spraying a single stage on it, or 400 if you're doing a base coat clear coat. Yeah, bro, how to tell if your car has been repainted would be an awesome video for anyone really. I definitely could use a refresher. Yeah, super simple to spot it. I mean, especially if they did a bad masking job like they did on my car, you can see it. I'll definitely make a quick little video, put it up on YouTube, guys. I love to try an Atom X gun, but already have a DV1. Hey, you never know. To me, like, I look at spray guns like shoes, like shoe brands. You know, you got more than one. Like, I got Nike, I got Adidas, I got Puma. You know, I got a couple different. I'm not really a maxi, so to say, to one particular shoe brand. Although I also got Reebok, but my Reeboks are pretty jacked up. So no Reeboks right now. I have champagne paint. Can I spray door jambs one day and also hit up all other panels separately? Absolutely. Yes, you can. And that's what we're going to be doing with the Tesla when we paint this sucker here. So we're going to be painting the Tesla, I would say, if not by the end of this year, first quarter of next year for sure, 100% custom paint. We're going to go with a crypto-ish color scheme because I'm all into crypto and I love crypto. So we're going to do something cool in the crypto world for that Tesla. When shooting clear, do you have your gun wide open? Yes. As far as fluid settings, I have it wide open, and then fan pretty much wide open with a quarter turn. So it's pretty much wide open. But if you're shooting inside of body kits and you need a smaller fan, you could lower, you know, make your fan smaller, and you're going to have to lower your pressure a couple of pounds, because if you're spraying at, 27 pounds with a wide open fan pattern, if you narrow that, you're going to get more streamlined air pressure, right? So you're going to want to cut back your air if you're doing that. But then, that it helps when you're doing body kits. And if you want to get into crevices like this, sometimes you need a smaller fan pattern to get up in here, so yeah. Adhesive for body kits. So there's a couple ways to put body kits on. You could two-way tape them with the 3M tape. If you're not going to be molding, I would recommend that. You can two-way tape and screw underneath your rocker boards, or you can grind and basically weld using an epoxy, weld fiberglass to metal, or fiberglass to fiberglass, or fiberglass to plastic, or whatever you're doing, with a 3M product called panel bonding adhesive by 3M. Where the hell is my gun? I just had it out. Where is it? And I use it a lot in my VIP videos. Here it is. Okay, this stuff right here. Panel bond. You gotta buy the gun, but it's worth it. I think it's like $120 or $130 for the gun and one bottle of epoxy. But then if you have to buy these again, they're like $40. But it's worth it. It's panel bonding adhesive. 08115 is the number. And this is like my go-to mixing glue for custom body kits. This is what I use. Yeah, U-Paul's good. I've used it. I actually use their glaze putties right here. This is not U-Paw, but I do have Dolphin Glaze that I used to use. This is a good, ECG is a good putty. Evercoat makes a really good body filler. So if you're looking for an alternative, I like Evercoat for body fillers. 3M also has a good body filler, inexpensive, pretty cheap, affordable, good product. And yeah, what is the process of fading paint? Well, it depends on the colors. It depends how you want to fade. Like we did a fade here, custom candy. I don't know if you could see it. It'll probably look better in the sun, but basically faded purple, purple blue to the magenta on top, and then down the candy here. This is all candy fade, by the way, candy over silver. So we got some purple up here coming down into like a nice magenta looking color. And we got some fading along the side here as well. So it's pretty much just fading, and you're going to see, if you guys want to see some cool fading, we're going to be doing some pretty fucking awesome fading on the Tesla. Tesla's going to be multi-tone. The rails are going to be a certain color. It's going to be black, magenta, and blue. Something like this, but different. Something like that, but different on the Tesla with more black. There's also going to be black fading on that. I think it's going to be dope. I might even do the rims black or some candy color. Venus bloom, or if you want to plug the holes, use a short strand kitty hair, fiberglass kitty hair. Do I have any? I had some. Here, use this stuff by Evercoat. This is long strand, but you can get the short strand kitty hair, fill up your holes, and then you could just sand it flat and undercoat. You could even use an undercoat like this called Tight Seal. I get these off eBay. Very good. It's paintable. You want to make sure, if you guys are using undercoating, to get the paintable undercoating. The paintable undercoating dries. The non-paintable stays sticky, and the shit will never dry. And that's kind of used on old school vehicles, like, old school cars. Back in the day, you'll notice under the wheel wells are undercoated, and it has that tarish feel to it. It doesn't dry really well. This stuff dries hard, and it's really good. It dries like a rubber, and it's paintable, so you could paint over it. So if you wanted that undercoating texture, you spray this, and then you can actually shoot single stage right over it if you want. You can prime it. You could put base coat, clear coat on top of it. Pretty good stuff. What is that black sticky stuff that is under the plastic in a door? Oh, that's probably like it holds the plastic in your inner door panel. So when you take a door panel off, you usually have a piece of plastic that covers the hole and in your window and all that. That sticky stuff is just an adhesive glue that holds that plastic in there. That's all that is. But if you're looking at the black sticky stuff that's inside of the door, on the door panel itself, that's undercoating. I'm not sure what you're talking about, but I think I got it. On a truck, fine line tape, or just like the yellow? Fine line. Anytime you're doing any type of paint splitting or custom graphics and stripes and lines, you're going to want to use fine line tape. Okay. This is what you want to use. Fine line tape, guys. Okay. 3M makes it. They come in an 1/8 or 1/4 inch. This is the stuff you really need because it gives you a really good edge. You're not going to get paint peeling. It's going to give you a nice smooth edge. Okay. A regular masking tape is not going to cut it. You're not going to be happy. So this is the two main sizes that I have stocked all the time, 1/8 and 1/4 inch, to do any type of paint separations and lines and pinstriping and graphics and whatnot. So that's pretty much it, guys. Hopefully that helped. Have a great week. Sign up to those links if you're interested in the chat here. I'll also have those links in the replay down below here, or the little cards popping up on the side over here. Tony here from Paradise Garage, hanging out. Hope all is well. Peace out. Have a great week. And keep cranking, guys.